Hello. This is a video to show how to draw the orthographic projection and isometric view of the saddle bracket. Here's a 3D image of the saddle bracket. You can kind of see that it looks like a Y from the top. Front view, and then the right side view. I've already started by drawing a title block with a borderline, and now I'm going to start by drawing the front view of the saddle bracket down here in the lower left hand corner, and I'm going to make that drawing 1 inch away from the borderline on the bottom and 1 inch away from the borderline on the left hand side. So real quickly, I'm going to demonstrate measuring 1 inch. And then 1 inch. I'm going to lightly draw a construction line all the way across the bottom of the paper, almost touching the border on each side. And I'm going to draw a vertical construction line almost touching the top. I'm going to start by drawing the right, check that, the front view in this lower left-hand corner. And in this front view, remember that this view is the front view in our isometric. So right here is the front view. Your instructions tell you that each grid on this sketch is going to equal 1/2 of an inch. So I'm going to start at this lower left-hand corner and count 1, 2, 3, 4 grids. 4 grids, so this line is going to be 2 inches. This line right here on the bottom is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 grids. 5 times 1/2 inch for each grid is going to be 2 1/2 inches. That's that line right there. Then I'm also going to see this line in the front view, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 grids. That's going to be 2 inches. So it's going to be 2 inches tall. This object here is going to be 2 inches tall. This distance is 2.5. And then this distance is 2. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to draw the front view. I had paused the video so that I could draw in the front view and drawing in these 2 planes. Now I'm going to deal with this hole that's right here in this one plane on this side. So if I look closely at my sketch here, I'm going to zoom in on that sketch. I know that the center of this hole is going to be 2 grids from this bottom line. So that distance from here to here is drawn out like this. This distance from here to here is 1 inch. I'm going to do the same thing, measuring, counting from this distance from this outside 1, 2 grids. So that distance is also going to be 1 inch. I'm also going to notice that the distance across the center of the circle in both directions is also 2 grids. So this circle is going to have a 1 inch diameter. Okay? So now let me zoom out just a bit, and I'm going to locate the center of this circle. So measuring over, I'm going to measure over 1 inch. I'm going to lightly draw a vertical line for that center point. I'm going to lightly draw that in. And then from the bottom up, I'm going to measure 1 inch. So I can lightly draw a horizontal line for that circle right there. Now there are a couple of ways that you can draw this circle. You know that the diameter is 1 inch. So you can measure across this circle 1/2 of an inch from the center point vertically and horizontally. I'm going to make some little marks on there. So you can see the diameter of the circle that's going to cross those axis points there. If you have available to you a circle template, you can use a 1-inch circle template. You can find the center and you can draw in that circle. But if you don't have a circle template at home, which you may not, you probably don't, I provided for you a small circle template piece of paper. If you find the 1-inch circle template, where it says 1 inch and points to that circle, and you find the center of that, if you slide this underneath your drawing by removing the tape in this lower left-hand corner, if you slide this piece of paper underneath, locating where the 1-inch template is, then you can trace the circle below. So you can trace that circle by following the line. This is very similar to the way we would trace the grid when we did isometric sketches. Do your very best to trace that circle using this small circle template, lining up the center of the template, the paper template I gave you, with the center that you draw on the paper. The next step of the drawing is to develop the top view. The top view will be projected straight up from the front view, be drawn 1 inch away from the borderline, and it's going to look just like this. It's going to look like a Y. Okay? So by projecting those lines up, I can establish these lengths, and then all I have to do is look at the sketch and count the grids. So I know that one is a 1/2 inch. This one is 1/2 inch. The distance between them is 1, 2, 3, or 1 and 1/2 inch. Actually, what I think I'll do is count the overall size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 2.5 inches wide. So by looking at the sketch, projecting these lines straight up, I'll be able to create that top view. And this will be what the top view looks like. It'll look like that Y. Now I'm going to pause the video so that I can draw the top view of the saddle bracket. So I paused the video so that I could take the time to draw in the top view. Notice that the top view is drawn 1 inch away from the borderline. And if I project these lines up, it establishes the lengths of those surfaces. And I just made measurements to draw that in. Now, the first thing I want to deal with here, though, is I want to deal with the fact that there is a surface here in the top view that when I rotate it, I cannot see it in the front view. So to show that that surface is there in the front view, I'm going to project this plane down from the top, lightly drawing a guideline, and where it arrives or touches the front view, I'm going to draw in a hidden line. And remember, a hidden line is a dashed line where every dash is 1/8 of an inch long and the gaps are 1/16 of an inch long. And noticing that the dashed line needs to touch the object line. Notice how it touches the object line on both ends. Now I'm going to have to deal with the exact same issue with the circle or the hole. That's in here. To establish where that goes through, I'm going to project the edges or the tangent line. And where that touches, I will have a dashed line. And because that's only 1/2 inch, it's only going to be able to fit 3 dashes in there. And I'm going to do that on both sides of that tangent line. I also want to identify the center. And to do that, I'm going to project the center up. And I'm going to put a dash in the middle. And then I'm going to put a line that has a little extension or a tail outside of each side or each line. And so this is what the hidden line and center line should look like. Okay, for the whole. So the top view is complete and the front view is almost complete. I want to identify the centers on the front view. And to do that, I put center lines on the front view. So I'm going to identify the very center of the object with a dash. and then a line that extends just past the circle, a dash, and the line that just tends just past the circle. I'm going to do that on the top, or pardon me, horizontally and vertically. So I'm going to put a dash in the middle, and then a line that extends past on either side. So for now, that's what that center line is going to look like. I'm going to edit this just a bit. Like that. That's what the front view should look like. Now what I'd like to do is I would like to draw the right side view. When I rotate this to the right side view, I'm going to see three planes. 1, 2, and 3. Remember, I'm going to use my 45-degree angle so that I can create what is called a miter line. First thing I'm going to do is measure from the edge or the border line so that my right side view will stand off or be 1 inch away from the border line. I can draw in a miter line, and then I can project lines over, and then I can project the line down. And then I can project this line over. And now I know exactly where my right side view will be. I'm going to continue projecting each one of these horizontal lines so that I can draw those three planes in this view. I'm going to pause the video while I project lines over and down so that I can create the right side view. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and project over each horizontal line. And very, very lightly notate where they cross the miter line. Then I'm going to use my triangle to project these lines down. And I'm not identifying the line type yet. I'm just projecting those lines down so that I know where they're going to create my three planes. Now I know that I'm going to have object lines on the outside edges of each plane. And then I'm going to have object lines on the top and the bottom. The other lines that I projected, we're going to need to see these interior surfaces here, here, and here. And those are going to be, they were projected over and down, and they are going to create hidden lines. Remember, hidden lines are drawn as a dashed line. Every dash is 1/8 of an inch. The gap between them is 1/16 of an inch, making sure that the dashes end or stop on a object line. Just like that. And just like I did for the top view, I need to project over for the circle or the hole that's in the object. And it's going to go through this center part only. On the top and the bottom tangent of this circle. And then I'm going to draw a center line. By projecting that over, there'll be a dash in the middle. And the line, the center line, extends from the object where it's going through a little bit. So there is what the right side view should look like. Let me zoom out and show you what the orthographic projection looks like. There are the three views, the multi-view or the orthographic projection of the saddle bracket.